We're going to set up now for doing the Death Grip belt hitch video. I believe the Duckworks story should be coming out about now in the magazine, the photo and text story. But I wanted to do a video of how this is done. This is the last of the three: the Death Grip hitch, the Death Grip loop, and then this last one, the Death Grip belt hitch. And I have a flickering fluorescent light over there. I'm going to do it a little bit different this time. Before, I'd always been making the knot in front of you. This time I'm going to do it with the knot already made, and then I'm going to undo the knot. And then my video program, editing program, my Sony Vegas, will let me play these things forwards or backwards. So then we'll do a couple forwards and then backwards and forwards and backwards again to show you how this knot goes. And if there's a little bit of time on the end, I'll show you with some smaller cord that all of these knots are scalable from small cord up to larger rope. So let me go ahead and reset up now here on the workbench with my backdrop and the knot already made. So let's switch over. Okay, here's the knot already made up, and I'm gonna have to look in my monitor here as I do this. You can see it's this typical, it looks like a Death Grip hitch, whether it be the loop or the hitch itself. You got the curling piece that goes over, and you got the knuckle that it rides under on both sides here. So let me go ahead, and you've got the tail is bitten by itself. And so we'll give ourselves a little bit of slack here on the tensioning line. And you kind of see how it goes there. These are the two extra loops you'd make in order to run the tail through that this line, when it's under tension, tightens down on. So let's go ahead and pull that out. And let's take the one loop. Okay, now we've come underneath. Get myself centered up here. And then we'll pull out all of these loops going back the other direction. And that leaves us the line and the ones that were originally going this direction. Now we'll come back through the up and over part. This is the knuckle part. You still see that in there? Yeah. And we'll pull that through. Now this is where you, on the fourth time, you roll over and then come up in between them and then dive down like we just unpulled. So we'll pull that around. Now we got our loop and we got our coils before the initial pulling over. And there. Okay, we'll try with some different color line. I'm going to set down this time. My back was killing me, stooped over doing this. Okay, we got our loop. This is our tensioning, the part that is actually sliding inside the hitch. It's the death grip part. So then we'll come down here and start coiling over. I'll go ahead and form the coils and hold them with my fingers. This rope's a little stiff too. Yacht braid is really nice to work with. Okay, I got my 4 coils here. You see them? Yeah. Okay, this time we'll go. Come over. Remember, this is the part we bring over the top, up in between. Back into position. I'm so used to doing this with photographs and positioning everything that you don't get to see all the fun of games. Okay, we're come through. We're going to go over the top now. I don't know if we can zoom in a little bit here or not. Okay, this is where we came over. Now we're coming up in between the loop itself and the. I got a little smaller. Now we're going to dive down. It's important to remember that you don't want to dive down over the very top of this. You want to pick up this first coil right in here. When it comes down, you want to come up inside of it. Okay, and that's the basic end. You come over between the two, up and over, and then dive down. Now we'll start working our way back. This line had a knot at the end of it, and that knot's what's hanging up as I pull it through. Okay, we go underneath the tension line here, around another time. And one more. And that line goes through these last 3. Let's get some slack out of this. Just kind of like take all the slack here on the turnaround part and twist it out and take it all back to the end. Try not to lose your coils. Okay. There. The more you tension this thing, the more slack you can pull out of it. This is one of those knots that, once you probably have it made up, you won't necessarily have to redo it again. And there you go. And then you can just grab the nut and pull it in. There. The Death Grip Hitch. Small version. This, you can do this down into real tiny line. If I, put it into microscope mode here, I could do it on this line too, and it would act the same way. It seems to be not a problem on size. Well, now that we know, hopefully you know how to tie the belt grip, the Death Grip belt hitch. I sometimes have a hard time figuring out, let's see, how does this start? And But once you've done the basic Death Grip Hitch, and then the loop, which is pretty much like the Death Grip Hitch itself, the functioning of tying it. Once you've done the belt hitch a couple times, it becomes, oh yeah, I know how it goes. But something we're going to do next time is you remember from my other videos on finger joints, so I made this template, and I started out with this one plate, and I got some extra plates that were on sale, and everybody keeps asking me, so they're woodstock dovetail plate. Focus there, yeah, and it's a model number. It's a 1/2 inch gap between on the fingers, and it's a model D2926, and I'm pretty sure it's still available. But I've taken and chopped the ends off of 2 of them and got them joined up. Now I got some 1/4 inch plywood over here. I'm going to cut in half and then epoxy together and then put these on, so that'll give me a 1/2 inch back, fairly wide, so that'll give me some clamping area to clamp, so that the routers won't get in the way of clamps on either end. But before I think I may cut the ends off of this one and make this 3 wide, and then I'd have about a 40 inch. But I may or may not. I may just do this one to start with and see how it works. Getting this, this gap in here is critical so that they function correctly. But what I may do is I found a source for materials, onlinemetals.com. They're in Seattle, and you can get all sorts of aluminum and copper and steel. And I was looking for some sheet metal, because the videos this summer are going to be pretty sporadic, because I'm going to be putting a roof on my house and building a carport and some other things. So I have other things coming up in the heat of the Washington-Seattle summer, which starts July 5th, depending on whether the 4th is a Sunday or Monday. And I may get some material from Online Metals. They have some UHMW in about a 1/2 inch thickness, and that's fairly stiff, and I'll get a 4 foot wide, probably a 50 inch. That'll give me a little bit of leeway on either end, and then 12 inches wide, and then I'll go ahead and use this as a template and cut across. And I think I'll be able to come up with clean enough cuts. I may go with something heavier. They have some, I got to go down and see what kind of heavy plastics they got. But since the router runs around these on that guide plate, they're really, as long as they're stiff, and even if I have to take and put, drill down and countersink some flathead screws into the backing material, which will probably be 1/2 inch plywood, or a couple layers of the 1/4 inch, that should work. I mean, if it's a little sloppy in here, that's fine, because we're going to be filling up all them voids with epoxy anyway. So this will probably be the next thing, and come July I'll be on the roof of my house every day, so maybe I'll do a video on how to install snap lock raised rib metal roofing. That can be a joy. You can watch me fall off the roof. So until later, this is Red Barn Boats out.